You know, every single thing you learned in school, whether it was long division or the parts of a cell or the capital of Nebraska, it was all chosen for a reason. It was part of a bigger plan, this kind of invisible blueprint that shapes how we all think and what we know. So today, we're going to deconstruct that blueprint, the curriculum.
I mean, really think about it. Who makes that call? It seems like such a simple question, right? But the answer? Well, it pulls back the curtain on a really complex master plan. It's so much more than just a list of subjects. It's the architectural drawing for an entire educational journey.
And it all starts with the word itself, curriculum. It actually comes from the Latin word currere, which means a course to be run, like a racetrack. And that's exactly what it is in education. It's this super detailed plan that lays out everything, the goals, the content, the teaching methods, even how you get graded. It really is the official blueprint for learning.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into what makes this blueprint just so fundamental to how education works.
It's so easy to think a curriculum is just, a schedule of classes, math, then science, then history, but it's so much more than that. The blueprint is designed to build not just what we know, but also our skills and our values. In a very real way, it's about shaping who we become. Now here's the thing. Not all blueprints are created equal. For a curriculum to actually work in the real world, it has to follow a few key design principles. Let's take a look at what they are. Okay, so for a blueprint to be any good, it's got to be grounded in reality, right? First, it has to be relevant. It needs to connect to what students' lives are actually like and what society actually needs. Second, it has to be flexible. Things go wrong. What happens if the power goes out during a lesson that needs computers? A good plan can adapt. Then there's continuity. Learning can't be just a random collection of facts. What you learn in third grade should be the foundation for fourth grade. It has to be a connected journey. And finally, it all comes down to results. Is the plan efficient with its time and its money? And probably the most important question, is it actually effective? Are students really learning what they're supposed to? This brings us to a really central tension, a big debate in the world of curriculum design. Who gets to draw this thing? Is it the experts way up at the top, or is it the teachers who are down on the ground, in the classroom, every day?
So you've basically got two competing philosophies here. On one side, you have the top-down model. That's where a central authority, maybe the government, designs one single curriculum for everybody. The idea is to create consistency and make sure everyone meets the same standards. But then you've got the bottom-up model, which starts right in the classroom. This is what happens when teachers look at the official plan and say, you know what, this isn't really working for my students. So they innovate, they create something new, and that idea flows upwards. It's that classic conflict, right? Standardization versus customization.
But here's the thing about a blueprint. It's totally useless if you don't think about the people who have to build with it and the people who have to, live in the house after it's built. And this is where stakeholders come into the picture. So what is a stakeholder? Well, it's basically any person or group that has a real interest in how good our education system is. And getting them involved is absolutely crucial. Why? Because when you listen to everyone, the final plan ends up being way more relevant and way more effective. Plus, when the whole community has a voice, you get buy-in, you get support, and you get accountability. And all these key players are connected. I mean, you've got the students, right? They're the main users. Then you have their biggest supporters, the parents. You've got teachers on the front lines making it all happen, and the schools that provide the space for it. The government is there to set the big picture vision for the nation, while industry comes in with a major reality check, telling us what skills are actually needed in the real world. A truly great curriculum somehow has to find a way to balance the needs of all of them. Okay, so let's move from theory to reality. Let's see how all of this plays out in the real world. And for that, we're going to use Indonesia as a case study, a country that has seen some pretty frequent and really dramatic shifts in its educational blueprint.
Just look at this timeline. It shows you how wild curriculum development can be. Since 1947, Indonesia has changed its national curriculum about 10 times. And every single change tells a story about a shift in the nation's priorities, politically, socially, and economically. They went from building national character right after independence to focusing on state ideology, to introducing student active learning, all the way to eventually decentralizing power and giving it back to local schools.
It's a really fascinating look at a country that is constantly redrawing its own educational blueprint.
But why? Why all the constant change? Well, this number gives us a pretty big clue. In the 2019 PISA survey, which is this big global test that measures how well students do in reading, math, and science, Indonesia ranked 72nd out of 77 countries. That stark reality creates this immense pressure to find a blueprint that finally works, and that pressure is what drives this constant cycle of reform.
So, if changing the blueprint over and over again isn't the silver bullet, then what is? Well, it turns out there's one factor that is more critical, more important than any single plan on paper. You can have the most perfectly designed curriculum in the entire world, but it will fail if the mindset of the people putting it into practice doesn't change along with it. A blueprint is just paper. It's the builders who actually bring it to life.
And that's because teachers, they wear so many different hats. They're not just passive robots delivering a pre-made script. No way. They are planners, they are innovators, they are evaluators, and they are researchers, constantly figuring out what works and what doesn't. They adapt the plan to meet the real needs of the students sitting right in front of them. In the classroom, they are the ultimate decision makers. Their role is active, not passive.
So look, we can debate top-down versus bottom-up all day long, and we can tweak and fine-tune these blueprints forever. But if success truly depends on the builders, then the only question that really matters is this one. How do we best empower our teachers to build the future one classroom at a time?